Commander Park Soo-jin walked slowly across the bridge of the Meridian, her boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. The ship had been flying through deep space for 3 months now, far from Earth and any human colony. Outside the big windows, stars looked like tiny diamonds scattered across black cloth. "Commander, you need to hear this," called Lieutenant Kim Jae-ho from his station. His voice sounded worried, and Soo-jin could see his hands shaking a little as he worked with the computer. She moved to stand behind him, looking at the screen full of strange symbols and numbers. "What did you find?" "We caught some alien radio messages," Jae-ho said, pointing at the display. "Computer's been trying to translate them for weeks. But there's something very strange about what they're saying." Dr. Lee Minho, their language expert, came over to join them. He was a thin man with glasses, who always looked like he was thinking hard about something. "Show her the part about humans," he said to Jae-ho. The screen changed to show rows of translated text. Soo-jin read quietly, her eyes moving from line to line. The aliens were talking about trade routes, whether on different planets, and normal things. But whenever they mentioned humans, they never used the word human or Earth or any normal. Look at this line," Minho said, pointing with his finger. "They say the unnamed ones are moving ships near the border and here. Those from the silent sector want to trade for metal. They never say our real names." Soo-jin felt a cold feeling in her stomach. Maybe they just don't know our names? "That's what I thought too," Jae-ho said. "But we caught over 300 messages in the last month. Messages from different alien groups, different planets, different parts of the galaxy. They all do the same thing. They all refuse to say our name." The bridge became very quiet. The only sounds were the soft hum of the ship's engines and the beeping of computers. Soo-jin looked out at the stars again, but now they seemed different somehow. Less friendly. "There's more," Minho said. His voice was almost a whisper. "Remember the alien prisoners we captured last month? The ones from that fight near Jupiter?" Soo-jin nodded. 3 alien soldiers had been taken alive when their ship was destroyed. They had been kept in the ship's prison for questioning. "I tried to ask them about Earth, about humans, about our place in the galaxy," Minho continued. "But every time I said words like human or Earth or Terran, they would start shaking. Not angry shaking, scared shaking, like I was saying something terrible." "Scared?" Soo-jin asked. "What could they be scared of? We're just one planet? One species? Or hundreds of alien races out there with bigger fleets and more advanced technology?" "That's what I thought too," Minho said. "What, yesterday? I tried something different. I asked one of the prisoners to write down our name in their language. Just write it down, not say it out loud." He showed her a small piece of paper with alien writing on it. The symbols looked like they had been written by someone whose hand was shaking very badly. The alien started crying, Minho said. Real. Tears. Then he threw the paper away and wouldn't talk to me anymore. "Commander, I've studied alien languages for 15 years. I've never seen anything like this." Soo-jin picked up the paper and looked at the strange symbols. They seemed to move and dance in front of her eyes, but that was probably just because she was tired. "What do you think it means?" she asked. "I think," Minho said slowly, "that our name, our real name in the galaxy, is something these aliens are afraid to say. Not because they don't know it, but because they know it too well." Jae-ho turned around in his chair to face them. "Commander, there's something else." The computer found patterns in the alien messages. They're not just avoiding our name. They're warning each other about us. Look at this. The screen showed a new message, this one marked as high priority by the alien sender. The translation read, "The unnamed are stirring again. Ships moving in patterns not seen for generations. All vessels maintain safe distance. Do not engage unless attacked first." "Remember the old warnings?" "Old warnings?" Soo-jin said. "What?" "Old warnings? Humans have only been in space for a few hundred years." "That's what I want to know," Minho said. "Commander, I think we need to change our mission. Instead of just exploring and mapping, we need to find out why the whole galaxy is afraid to speak our name." Soo-jin looked at her crew. Jae-ho was young but smart, always good at finding hidden information. Minho was older and careful, the kind of person who noticed small details that others missed. They had been her team for 2 years now, and she trusted them. "Set course for the Kepler system," she said finally. "I heard there are some old ruins there. Maybe we can find some answers." As the Meridian changed direction and began flying toward the distant star system, none of them noticed the small alien ship that had been following them for days. And none of them saw the message it sent into deep space. The unnamed are moving toward the ancient place. The awakening may have begun. 3 weeks later, the Meridian slowly entered orbit around Kepler-4 for 2b. The planet looked brown and gray from space. With no green forests or blue oceans, Dr. Choi Hai-jin pressed her face against the window in the science lab, looking down at the dead world below. The scanners show massive structures under the surface, she told her assistant Yoon, Taman. Some of them are huge, bigger than anything we've ever built on Earth. Taman was a young man who had just finished his studies. This was his first mission into deep space, and his eyes were wide with excitement. How old do you think they are? Very old, Hajin said, checking her instruments. Maybe older than human civilization. She paused. Maybe older than most alien civilizations, too. Commander Park Soo-jin came into the lab, carrying her helmet under her arm. Are you ready to go down there? As ready as we can be, Hajin replied. The atmosphere is breathable, but thin. We'll need breathing masks, and the temperature is cold, like winter on Earth. An hour later, their small landing ship touched down on the planet's surface. The ground was covered with gray dust that had been there for thousands of years. In the distance, they could see the tops of ancient buildings sticking up through the dirt like the bones of some giant animal. Stay close together, Soo-jin warned, as they walked toward the nearest structure. We don't know what's down there. The entrance to the building was a huge stone archway, carved with symbols that looked almost familiar. Hajin ran her fingers over the carved lines, frowning. These markings, they remind me of something, but I can't remember what. Inside, the building was dark and cold. Their lights made long shadows dance on the walls. The hallways were wide, enough for 10 people to walk side by side, and the ceiling was so high that their lights couldn't reach it. Look at this, Taman called out, his voice echoing in the empty space. He was standing in front of a wall covered with pictures carved into the stone. These look like star maps. Jin came over to look. The carved pictures showed dots connected by lines, like a map of roads between cities. But these roads were between stars. You're right, she said slowly. But look at the scale. This shows travel between hundreds of star systems. Thousands of them. They moved deeper into the building, following a long hallway that seemed to go on forever. The walls were covered with more carvings, telling stories and pictures. They saw images of ships flying between stars, of planets being changed and shaped, of great battles in space. Haijin, Soo-jin said, stopping in front of one large carving. Come look at this. The carving showed figures that looked like people, but not quite like any aliens they had ever seen. The figures were standing on a planet, pointing up at stars. Around them were symbols that looked like writing, but in a style that seemed almost familiar. These figures, Haijin said quietly, they look human. That's impossible, Taman said. Humans have only been in space for a few hundred years. These carvings are thousands of years old. But as they looked more closely, the figures really did look human. 2 arms, 2 legs, the right size and shape. The writing around them was strange, but had patterns that reminded Haijin of ancient human languages she had studied. They kept walking and found a larger room with a domed ceiling. The walls were covered with more carvings, but these told a different story. They showed the human-like figures, building great cities on many worlds, commanding fleets of ships, and doing things that seemed impossible. Look at this section, Haijin said, pointing to one wall. It shows them changing the weather on planets, making deserts into oceans, making dead worlds come alive. The carvings went on and on, showing a great civilization that had spread across the galaxy. But toward the end of the story, the pictures changed. They showed great battles, with the human-like figures fighting against many different alien races. The battles seemed to go on for a long time. Then they found the final room. It was smaller than the others, and the carvings here were different. Instead of showing great victories, They showed the human-like figures making a difficult choice. The pictures showed them leaving their great cities, abandoning their powerful ships, and going to live on one small world. I don't understand. Taemin said, why would they give up all that power? Why would they leave everything behind? Jin was studying the last carving on the wall. It showed the human-like figures standing around what looked like a great machine. The machine was breaking apart, and light was coming out of it. The figures looked sad, but also relieved. Below the picture were symbols that took her a long time to translate. When she finally understood what they said, her hands started shaking. Commander. She called out, her voice barely above a whisper. You need to see this. Sujin came over to look at the translation Hajin had written down. The words were simple, but their meaning was huge. We choose to forget, so that we may remember how to be human. What does that mean? Sujin asked. Hajin looked at the carved figures one more time. Now she was sure. They weren't human-like, they were human. I think, she said slowly, we just found out why the aliens are afraid to say our name. Captain Nam Dong-han woke up screaming. He was in his small cabin aboard the cargo ship Prosperity, but for a moment he thought he was somewhere else entirely. In his dream, he had been standing on the bridge of a massive warship, watching a battle between thousands of vessels among the stars. The strange part was that he knew exactly what to do, even though he had never been in a real space battle. His hands were shaking as he reached for the communication device next to his bed. This is Captain Nam, he said into the speaker. Everything normal on the ship? Yes, sir, came the reply from his night watch officer. All systems working fine. Are you okay, Captain? You sound worried? I'm fine, Nam said, but he wasn't fine at all. The dream had felt more real than his actual life. He could still remember the feeling of commanding a fleet of ships, of knowing exactly how to fight a battle across multiple star systems at the same time. Nam wasn't the only one having strange dreams. All across human space, people were waking up with memories that didn't belong to them. On Earth, a young woman named Park Mi-jin found herself drawing detailed plans for a type of engine that hadn't been invented yet.
Oh.
On Mars colony, an old man named Lee Woo-son started speaking in a language that no one recognized. But somehow, other people understood what he was saying. Dr. Bae Sujan was working the night shift at New Seoul Medical Station when the first patients started arriving. They all had the same problem, memories that weren't their own. Doctor, said her assistant, we have another one. This patient says he remembers fighting in a war that happened before he was born. Sujan looked at the test results on her computer. The brain scans showed something she had never seen before. His brain is showing activity in areas that usually stay quiet, she said. It's like parts of his mind are waking up for the first time. By morning, hundreds of people were reporting the same thing. They were remembering things that had never happened to them, or at least things that shouldn't have happened to them. On the Meridian, Commander Park Sujin was having her own problems. She was sitting in her command chair looking at the star maps on the main screen when suddenly the display changed. Instead of showing simple navigation information, it was showing something much more complex. Lines of light connected stars, in patterns that seemed to make perfect sense, even though she had never seen them before. Commander Lieutenant Kim Jae-ho said from his station, I didn't change the display. It just changed by itself. I know, Sujin said quietly. I can see it too. And somehow, I understand what it means. The new display showed not just where the stars were, but how they were connected. Trade routes, communication lines, and something else. Battle plans, strategic positions, ways to control entire sections. Of the galaxy, this is impossible, Jae-ho said. These star maps show information we don't have. Information about alien territories, about planets we've never visited. But as Sujin looked at the display, she realized she did know these things. The knowledge was there in her mind, like a book she had forgotten she had read. She knew that. The Zephyrian Collective had weak points in their defense network. She knew that the Altair system was the key to controlling trade in this part of the galaxy. She knew things that no human should know. Commander, came a voice from the communication system. We're receiving a priority message from Earth Command. The message was from Admiral Kang Mi-young, the head of the human space fleet. Her face appeared on the screen, and Sujin could see that she looked worried and confused. "All ship commanders," the Admiral said, "we are experiencing unusual events across human space. People are reporting memories that don't belong to them. Our computer systems are accessing files that we didn't know existed. We're detecting energy signatures from installations that we never built." Sujin felt a cold feeling in her stomach. What kind of installations? As if answering her question, the Admiral continued. "Long-range sensors are detecting structures throughout human space that are powering up. Stations, weapons platforms, and other facilities that don't appear in any of our records. They seem to be responding to something, but we don't know what." Dr. Lee Min-ho came onto the bridge, carrying a tablet computer. "Commander, you need to see this. I've been analyzing the alien communications we intercepted earlier, cross-referencing them with these new ... memories that people are having." Showed her the tablet screen. "The aliens aren't just afraid to say our name. They're positioning their fleets at the edges of human space, not to attack us, but to watch us. Like they're waiting for something to happen." "Waiting for what?" Sujin asked. "For us to remember who we really are," Min-ho said. "The alien messages I decoded earlier weren't just about trade and normal business. They were warnings. The unnamed are stirring again. Remember the old warnings? Maintain safe distance." Sujin looked at the star map display again. The patterns of light were becoming clearer, showing her things she somehow knew were true. Strategic positions, weak points in alien defenses, and something else. The locations of ancient human installations throughout the galaxy. "How many installations are there?" she asked. Min-ho checked his tablet. "Thousands. Maybe tens of thousands. All across the galaxy, on planets and in space. All of them are starting to wake up." Outside the ship, space itself seemed to be changing. In the distance, Sujin could see lights where no lights should be. Ancient machines built by humans long ago were coming back to life after sleeping for thousands of years. Lieutenant Oh Sung-min sat in the small cafeteria of the space station, staring at his breakfast without eating it. Been a simple communications officer who had never even left Earth's solar system. He was remembering things that made no sense. The battle plans for wars that happened thousands of years ago. The feeling of commanding ships in places he had never been. "You're having the memories too," said Ensign Choi Da-hee, sitting down across from him. She was a young engineer who looked just as confused as he felt. "I remember the siege of Altair." "Prime," Sung-min said quietly. "I can see it in my mind like it happened yesterday. Human forces holding off 12 different alien fleets at the same time. But that's impossible. I've never been to Altair. I've never even seen a real battle." Da-hee nodded. "I remember building things, machines that could change the weather. On entire planets, weapons that could destroy stars. But I'm just a junior engineer. Barely know how to fix the coffee machine." All around them, other people were having quiet conversations about the same thing. Everyone was remembering things that didn't belong to them, but the memories felt real. It's more real than their actual lives. On the Meridian, Dr. Lee Min-ho was working with a team of scientists to understand what was happening. They had collected reports from across human space, and the picture they were getting was frightening. "It's not just random memories," he explained to Commander Park Soo-jin. "People are remembering specific things. Military tactics, it's advanced technology, scientific knowledge that we don't have yet." "But whose memories are they?" Soo-jin asked. "I think they're ours," Min-ho said. "I think they're human memories passed down through something we don't understand. It's maybe in our DNA, maybe in some other way. But I think these are the memories of the people who built those ancient ruins." Admiral Kang Mi-young was having her own problems. She was sitting in her office on Earth, looking at reports that made no sense. Human installations all over the galaxy were coming online, responding to commands that no one had given them. "Admiral," said her assistant, Major Park Junwoo, "we're getting reports from the outer colonies. People there are remembering how to operate machines that they've never seen before, and the machines are listening to them." "What kind of machines?" the Admiral asked. "Everything. Defense systems, terraforming equipment, starship factories. All of it is ancient, but it's more advanced than anything we have today, and it's all responding to human commands. The Admiral looked out her window at Earth below. Even from space, she could see lights in places where no lights should be. Ancient human installations buried for thousands of years were waking up. There's something else, Major Park said. The alien fleets. They're not just watching us anymore. They're running away. Running away. Yes, ma'am. Every major alien power is pulling their ships back from human space, not just a little bit. They're retreating to their home systems and putting up defenses, like they're getting ready for a war. On the bridge of the Meridian, Sujin was watching the same thing happen. The ship's sensors showed alien vessels throughout the galaxy changing course, moving away from human territory as fast as they could. Commander Lieutenant Kim Jae-ho said, his voice full of worry, "I'm picking up alien communications. They're talking about us." The translated messages appeared on the screen. The Dominion stirs. The unnamed remember. All ships retreat to minimum safe distance. Prepare for the return of the Terran Empire. Terran Empire, Sujin said. What's that? Dr. Minho looked up from his computer. I think I know. The memories that people are having, they're not just about technology and battles. They're about ruling the galaxy, about having power over every other species. He showed her a report from a mining colony on the edge of human space. The colony administrator there, a man named Kim Tae-han, sent this message yesterday, he said. He remembers when humans controlled trade routes across half the galaxy, when alien species had to ask permission before they could travel between star systems. That's impossible, Sujin said. Humans have only been in space for a few hundred years. But what if that's not true? Minho asked. What if humans were in space thousands of years ago, and then something happened? What if we chose to forget? The answer came from an unexpected source. On a research station near Jupiter, Dr. Yun-Su was studying the ancient language from the Kepler ruins when she made a breakthrough. The symbols weren't just writing, they were also a kind of computer code. I can access the historical records, she reported to Earth Command. The ancient database is still active. It's been waiting for someone who could read it. Told a story that changed everything. Thousands of years ago, humans had indeed ruled much of the galaxy. The Terran Dominion had been the most powerful force in known space. They had technology that could reshape planets, weapons that could destroy entire star systems, and the ability to travel instantly between distant worlds. But they had also been ruthless. The records showed that other species lived in fear of human power. Some aliens had been enslaved. Others had been forced to give up their best planets to human colonists. The Terran Dominion had been strong, but it had not been kind. The final entry Dr. Yu reported is from someone called the Last Council. They made a decision to give up their power and forget their history. They said that having unlimited power was making them into monsters. They chose to become ordinary again. Now the power was returning, and the galaxy was afraid. The aliens remembered the Terran Dominion, even if humans had forgotten, and they were getting ready for the return of their former masters. Commander Park Sujin stood in a room that shouldn't exist. 3 days ago, a massive structure had appeared in Earth's orbit, materializing out of empty space like a ghost becoming real. The ancient Terran command station was bigger than any human city, its walls made of materials that seemed to bend. Light around them. Systems are responding to your presence, said Captain Lee Junho, his voice filled with wonder and fear. Everything is coming online. Weapons, shields, communication networks across the galaxy. It's like the station has been waiting for you. Sujin walked to the center of the command room, where a chair waited for her. It looked like it had been made specifically for her, even though it was thousands of years old, and she sat down. The walls around her came alive with displays showing the entire galaxy. I can see everything, she whispered. Every human ship, every alien fleet, every planet. I can control all of it. The knowledge was flooding into her mind now. Not just memories, but understanding. She knew how to command the ancient weapons systems. She knew how to make dead planets come alive. She knew how to move entire star systems if she wanted to. Commander, came a voice from the communication system. Alien ambassadors are requesting immediate meeting. All of them. Every major species. In the galaxy. Through the station's great windows, Sujin could see the alien ships arriving. Hundreds of them, from dozens of different species. But they weren't coming to fight. They're coming to beg. The first ambassador was from the Zephyrian Collective. It was a tall, thin creature with blue skin and 4 arms. The voice was shaking with fear. "Great commander of the Terran Dominion," he said, "we remember the old agreements. We remember our place. Please, we ask only that you show mercy to our people." "Mercy?" Sujin asked. "What are you talking about?" "The tribute worlds," the ambassador said. "The mining rights. The trade restrictions. You will accept them all again, just as our ancestors did. Please don't destroy our home systems." More ambassadors came forward, each one offering to give up their freedom rather than face human anger. They spoke of ancient treaties where their species had been forced to serve human interests. They offered their best planets, their most advanced technology, their brightest children to be educated. On human worlds, "They're offering us everything," Captain Lee said quietly. "Complete control over their governments, their resources, their lives." Sujin could feel the power flowing through the station around her. With a thought, she could shut down the defense systems of any alien world. With another thought, she could change the weather on their planets, making them too hot or too cold for life. The technology of the ancient Terran Dominion was beyond anything she had ever imagined. "We could do it," she said. "We could rule the galaxy again. No more worrying about alien threats. No more competing for resources. We could make all the decisions." Dr. Park Yunji appeared on the main screen. She was on Earth, but somehow connected to the station's computer systems. "Commander, I've been studying the final records from the last council. I think I understand why they gave up their power." "Tell me," Sujin said. "They weren't afraid of the aliens," Yunji explained. "They were afraid of themselves. When you have unlimited power, you stop seeing other people as equals. You start seeing them as problems to be solved or resources to be used." The screen showed images from the ancient records. Humans making decisions about alien worlds without asking the aliens who live there. Entire species being moved from their home planets because humans wanted those worlds for themselves. Children being taken from their families to be trained as servants. The Terran Dominion wasn't evil, Yunji continued, but they had stopped being human. It had become something else. Something that saw other species the way we see animals or machines. Sujin looked at the alien ambassadors, still waiting for her answer. She could see the fear in their eyes, but also something else. Hope. They were hoping that this time would be different. "Commander," Captain Lee said, "the other human ships are waiting for orders. The ancient defense systems are ready to activate. We could secure the entire galaxy in a matter of hours." Through the station's sensors, Sujin could feel the power of the awakened human installations. Weapons that could destroy stars. Machines that could build new worlds. Technology that could reshape the laws of physics themselves. All of it was waiting for her command. But she also remembered something else. The feeling of being just human. Of working together with her crew. Of solving problems by talking and thinking instead of by using force. Of being part of something larger than herself instead of being above it. "Send a message to all human ships," she said finally. "Power down the ancient systems. Return to normal operations, Commander," Captain Lee asked. "Are you sure? The aliens aren't our enemies?" Sujin said. "They're our neighbors. Share this galaxy with them. We can be powerful without being rulers." She stood up from the ancient command chair, and immediately the displays around her began to fade. The station's weapons systems went quiet. Across the galaxy, the awakened human installations returned to their long sleep. "Tell the ambassadors," she said, "that humanity remembers why we chose to forget. We don't want to rule the galaxy. Want to be part of it?" As the alien ships began to leave, no longer running in fear, but flying toward home with relief, Sujin felt something she hadn't expected. She felt proud, not of human power, but of human wisdom. Sometimes the greatest strength was knowing when not to use it. The galaxy was big enough for everyone.